Welcome to Hand and Heart DIY Studio. Today we are going to be making basic sweet dough in our Cuisinart bread maker. Please follow along with the recipe. If you need to, go ahead and hit pause. But first we're going to add our room temperature water. Now we're going to add our 2 room temperature eggs. Now we're going to add our kosher salt. Our room temperature sour cream. I've taken this and spread it on a paper plate and let it get to room temperature quicker. And now I'm scraping it off the paper plate and putting it inside of my bread maker. Little tip is I'm using a piece of butter to scrape it off of my spatula. That way I'm not using my fingers and the butter goes directly into the pan anyway. Now I'm adding the rest of the room temperature butter. It uses a full stick of unsalted butter. And I'm trying to evenly disperse everything around the pan so everything is just not in one spot. My 1/4 cup of sugar. And as I stated, I'm just trying to get everywhere in the pan. Next is my 3 cups of bread flour. I kind of spread out the flour a little bit and add a divot in the center, and that is where I will add my yeast. Now I keep my yeast in a container in the refrigerator. It seems to last a lot longer. It keeps it fresh. Now I'm going to set my bread maker to the dough setting. And close the lid. Hit start. And I thought that you could see the inside of the mixer. So I tried to turn the light on so you can see inside a little bit. I'm speeding things up just a hair. And then I zoom in. It's just mixing that ingredients as it starts to warm up inside. This is more of a pastry dough. I originally thought it would turn out to be a lot like the Hawaiian sweet rolls. It turned out more like a Danish. It was very good, very dense, and there are a few things that I would do differently next time as far as the amount of times I fold it to give it more layers. to use it more as a Danish or a breakfast Danish. Now, I do not touch the machine during this process. I allow it to do everything it's supposed to do. That way the dough doesn't become overworked. I'm not scraping sides of the pan, anything like that. I just allow the machine to do what it's supposed to do. Of course, this process is sped up, so we're not sitting here all day for an hour and 28 minutes watching it. We'll be back. This is about 20 minutes in, and I figured out how to set the camera on top of it so you could actually see inside. It's pulling away from the sides, but as you still see, there's chunks of butter and such that has not been melted yet. I just continue to let the machine do its process. And we'll be back. All right, this is about another 20 minutes in, and as you see, it's starting to pull away from the sides very well. It's mixing up very well. During this process, the machine will start and stop again, allowing the dough time to rest. But if you let the machine do, this is what turns out. Turns out very nice and fluffy. You're supposed to pat it down and then let it rest for 10 minutes. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm giving it a little bit of pat, and then I will kind of punch it down a little bit. Now we're going to wait 10 minutes. It has been 10 minutes, and I'm coming back in, and I'm going to flour my pizza cutter and flour the dough a little bit, and I'm going to cut it like I would a pizza. And the main reason why is to make sure that all of the rolls that I'm making are all around the same size. Sure that everything is cut, and then we'll move over to the pan. Now we're over to the pan. I'm going to flour my hands really good and pick up a roll. I'm going to kind of concave it in the center and then kind of pinch it together, making sure that everything is underneath, and then move on to the next one. As you notice, I'm just folding it under, and then making it like a dome at the top. I'm not too concerned right now about worrying about the size of the rolls, because once we come to the end, we'll be able to see which ones are the biggest and which ones are the smallest, and kind of pinch from there and resize them. I'm going to move my pan over. Now we're allowing for room on the pan for the dough to rise, because it will rise again while it bakes. Working on my final two. A little bit of flour there. And I've noticed that that one is a little big, so I'm going to take a piece of that one off, roll it back up again, and then add it to this small one here. And we're going to put this in the oven and bake it 350 for 10 to 15 minutes until they're nicely golden brown. But while it's baking, let me give you a helpful tip. If you take a dry napkin and kind of scoop all of the flour off before you even try with a wet towel, you'll be able to get majority of the flour off and it won't cake on your counter. So I used a dry paper towel first, and now I'm going back in with a dishcloth with dish soap. And now I've taken about a tablespoon of butter and melted it into my nice bowl here. And I'm just turning the rolls upside down and in the top to kind of give them a nice little coat. It doesn't turn out too thick. Last dabs of butter. Getting it all out of there. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Here are the final pictures of the rolls. They turned out really good and dense. Thank you for watching Hand and Heart DIY Studio. Like what you see, like and subscribe.